Hi, how are you? My name is Mackie and welcome to Mackie Really Reads. I hope everybody's well, everybody's safe, and everybody has been reading great books. Today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up. I read, I think, 17 books, but I'm only going to talk about 16, I think, because there's one I'm still reading and I don't want to talk about it right now, and I just kind of I didn't DNF it, but I'm not in the mood for that book. But anyways, the first book that I read is the Flock series by Kate Stewart. Now I did this for a reading vlog with my friend Michae. I'll link down both of our videos, and tears, emotional damage, it was just it was a mess, but it was good. The whole series is 5 stars. You can't really talk about the series because it's you can't really talk about the series because it's spoilers, but it is fantastic if you're just looking for just the angstiest, sad, just I want to throw up type of love, because it's it hurts so much, but it's so good at the same time. Very toxic, by the way. But that's the type of romance, and I loved it. There's nothing else to say. I loved it. And then I read Pestilence because I just really needed a palate cleanser. I just needed to go somewhere else. I needed to try a new genre. Well, it's not a new genre, but I needed to read something that wasn't the Flock series. But there isn't anything like the Flock series, so that's why I went into fantasy romance. I read Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. Now, I gave this book 3 stars. I didn't really like it. I didn't really like the hero and the heroine. They were just annoying, but annoying in a boring way. Do you understand? They were just so boring. They were just annoying. They were annoying because they were boring, and they were boring because they were annoying. They deserve each other. They're just a boring ass couple. I think boring people should be together, because ain't no way I'm gonna be with a boring person. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry if you're a boring person. That's fine. Shout out to all my boring people out there. Hi, how's it going? I'm just joking. I said I'm just joking, everyone. But the next book that I read is War. This is the second book in the 4 Horsemen series. This series is basically about these 4 horsemen, pestilence, war, famine, and death. They just come to kind of get rid of everyone in the world, cure the world, or just get rid of everything and everyone, and they fall in love with humans, and it's forbidden. So it's a forbidden fantasy romance. I love the second book. This one was just amazing. I love the heroine. She was also annoying, but I understood where she came from. I think her character was better written. She had more depth to her. She felt more well-rounded. We didn't really know anything about the previous heroine other than she was a firefighter, and that's just about it. But here we really get to know her. We get to know who she is, where she comes from, and I just loved it. I love the picture as well. I love the cover of this book as well. It's so pretty. He is so cute, and I say that knowing he is not cute. I don't think you would describe him as cute, but I want to describe him as cute. But I mean, he's hot. Yeah. And then I did a reread. I read A Broken Fighter by Maggie. This is a brother's best friend. It is a forbidden romance. It's forbidden because it's a brother's best friend, and it's just he is Russian, she is Irish, and it is not allowed. She's not allowed to be with anyone who is not Irish, and he is Russian, but she's in love with him. And also her brother and the guy that she likes, the hero, are really good friends, and they're both fighters, underground. It's not underground fighting, but just they're boxers, the MMA fighters, and yeah, it can get very dangerous very quickly for them. So she's trying to avoid that at all costs, but they do fall in love. And Boris and Nora are just so toxic, but they're just so sweet, and they just want to be together, and it's sad, but it's it's a typical Mafia book. I liked it, enjoyed it. I think you should probably read the first book to better understand all the characters, but you don't have to. But going into a series, you kind of have to read the first one unless you really don't want to. But either way, you can do what you want. And then I read A Birthday Shot by Rilzy Adams. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Is it her? I think so. Yes, I think so. This is kind of a novella. It's like 212 pages, I think. It is two black characters. It is about Shay and Kofi. It is kind of like in the islands, like the Caribbean. I think it is in Antigua. Am I saying correctly? Some people say Antigua. Let me know if you are from there and how you actually pronounce it. If there is anyone that watches my channel and is from the Caribbean or is from the islands, let me know. So Shay is an influencer and I really enjoyed her character. She just made such good content. I felt like I would watch her channel. Like, she's a lifestyle type of YouTuber and I enjoyed her character. I enjoyed her content. I enjoyed her as a person, and I really like this romance as well. It was a brother's best friend. Kofi is friends with her brother, obviously, and he didn't like her at first because obviously she was a kid, but then now he just can't get enough of her and he's like, I am willing to risk my friendship with my brother for you, but can you do the same? And it is so sweet. It's so good. I love the feels. I love that we have two black characters falling in love. They were both really successful, really fun, really kind, and they were just vibes. I love this one, and it was very steamy as well, I will say that. Then I read Ivy by Willa Nash. Now this is a standalone. It is about three girls that are in college. Think of, I wouldn't say Gossip Girl because this one is kind of dark, but like Gossip Girl meets Pretty Little Liars. I love these three girls. I do have a favorite. So Cassia moves into this mansion. It is like this beautiful big ass mansion, and she's like, I'm not supposed to be living here because the rent that I'm paying is like, I shouldn't be living in a mansion with this month, with the amount I'm paying for rent. And she meets Laura and Ivy, and they are very secretive, they are very smart, and they are just these best friends that are complete opposites but are pretty much the same. I would say like Blair and Serena, but Serena needs to be even more conniving because yeah, they're both kind of conniving, and it was just like a ball. I loved it. I love their romance. I loved Laura's romance more. I think hers was my favorite. It has a roommate's, there's three romances because there's three of them. It is brother's best friend, it is roommate's brother, and we have another one which is kind of like surprise but it's not. But this book is very suspenseful. It is a mess, but like think of like college type of mess, type of like Pretty Little Liars, like who are these people, like what's going on. I liked it. I'm not a fan of suspense because I get scared very easily, but I really enjoyed this one. Like this one is a lot of fun. The romance, every single romance in this book made sense. At the end, you were happy for each one of these characters because you finally see that they've grown up, they've made their matches, and you're just like, yay, success. This is what a romance is about when it has three characters. I feel like this book was very, very well written. It is a big one, but it makes sense since there's three characters, there's three heroines, and with each heroine there's their own story, their own secrets, their own romance. So it's a lot, but it is amazing. I give it 5 stars. Then I read Color Me Pretty by B Celeste. I did DNF this book, but I do think like it has great bones, but I don't feel like I had the time or the patience to wait for it. It was like a slow burn, and it was just a lot going on. It is very like character driven, which usually I don't mind, but I was just like really bored by the heroine and the hero, and I just didn't see their romance being something that I believed or I wanted to read. Like the romance, just I couldn't believe it, and it was just like it made no sense for me. It is a dad's best friend. The hero and the heroine, they kissed one night. Nothing came about it. I think it's a a couple of years later, was it months later, I don't really remember, but it is the heroine's dad's funeral, and they kind of start being in each other's lives more. She was a ballerina, is a ballerina, wants to be a ballerina again. It's just, it's a lot. It's very, very character driven, and I didn't have the patience for it. I didn't really have the patience for it. I didn't like her, but I also didn't dislike her. She was just like blah, like boring. I don't like boring. Like, I just can't stand it. I don't have the patience for it. I really don't. Which is very strange because I'm a Libra and I'm very patient, but I just, slow burn romances and just like boring characters, I cannot deal with it. But if this sounds like something that you would like, the heroine has like an eating disorder, so if you kind of like that or you want to have that representation in your books, then I think you would enjoy this one. It is forbidden because it's a dad's best friend. I mean, the cover is pretty, but that's just about it. It was boring, but I'm not gonna rate it. I don't rate books that I DNF. That just, it just doesn't make sense. Like, how are you gonna rate something that you didn't finish? I don't know. For me, it doesn't make sense. If that's what you do, then you do you. I'ma do me. Okay. Then I read Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. Now, I was in pain. I was in agony. I loved this book so much. It has a trope that I love to watch, whether it's in movies or just like reading. I really haven't read a lot of books that have like domestic violence or that type of thing. I enjoy reading or watching, but not like I enjoy domestic violence. No, I enjoy seeing the heroine kind of get out of it and surviving and just like thriving and kind of figuring out how her life is and kind of getting over the trauma or still dealing with the trauma. I enjoy seeing a woman like take ownership and like survive and fight for who she is and just fight for the people that she loves and falling in love and trusting someone again. I enjoy seeing that process, even though there's a lot of pain that comes from it, but personally I just like to see the good side of it, and it's beautiful to watch. But this book is about Iris. I almost said Iris Kane. It is it is about Iris Dupree and August, man. He's just like the sweetest person ever. He is so patient. He loves her. Oh my word, it's just like so beautiful. Kennedy Ryan, she writes amazing books. She really does. I've only disliked one book, but that's because I DNF'd it because I didn't have time, the energy, or the patience for that. But this book was truly so beautiful. Also, check out the trigger warnings. Like, it is very dark when it comes to the violence and the gore and just like the emotional trauma that Iris goes through. It also has some basketball aspects, so if you like sports romance, this will do it for you. If you like an emotional sports romance, is that a thing? Well, it's a thing in this book. So yeah, it's so beautiful. I love the aesthetics. I just loved how the characters felt. They felt like just warm, bright people. They felt like the sun. I just love them so much. They make so much sense. They were just like chef's kiss. I love them. Oh, and I gave this book 5 stars. Obviously, I gave it 5 stars. Then I read Priest. Finally read A Priest. This book is about Simone. It is a forbidden romance. It is, I wouldn't say taboo, because taboo for me is more like an age thing for me, but it is a forbidden / taboo romance. It is about Father Tyler Bell and Poppy. I almost said Piper. Poppy. This book is about a priest and a human, person, a sinner. She's a sinner, he's a man of God. They're both sinners. We are all sinners. Anyways, loved this book. I will say I did enjoy the little novella more than this book. It kind of made me appreciate the first book, because it was when they're married and stuff. They're kind of going through some troubles, and it made me really appreciate the first book because you don't really see what, because I felt like in the first book I couldn't really see why it is they love each other so much, but after reading Midnight Mass, it made me appreciate Priest, because I saw just like the repercussions, the consequences of the choices that Tyler makes, and the consequences that Poppy has to deal with as well. It's a lot. It's beautiful, and I just loved it. I really, really enjoyed this one. It took me by surprise. Now thinking about it, I'm definitely gonna give it 5 stars. I gave it 4.5, but now I'm gonna change it to 5 stars because of Midnight Mass. So if you just read Priest and you didn't like it, read Midnight Mass. I think you'll like it much more. I don't know what it is about Priest, but there's just something about it, just like the push and pull of Tyler, of deciding whether or not his love for her is greater. I wouldn't say greater, but just his love for God and his love for her, and kind of making the decision with what he's gonna live with and what he can't live with, and living with that decision, and feeling guilt, and it was a lot. And also realizing the stuff that you think you know as a person or as a Christian or whatever, and you get to see him suffer, like, I wouldn't say suffering, but you get to see him think in a way that you probably would think like that, but it's not really like that. You'll understand if you read the book. It is really, really great. Loved it so much. Highly recommend. It is worth the hype. Then I read In Love with a Cowboy. This is like a 60-page book. It was just a quick little midnight read. It is a dad's best friend romance. It is in the country. It is in the farm, and he's a cowboy. She is gonna cook for all the workers and stuff, so she's basically the chef of the house, and they get in a relationship. They fall in love. He's the dad's best friend. So yeah, very simple, very quick, like an hour's read tops. Well, for me that is. If you take 2 days to read it, that's perfectly fine, or not, whatever you want to do. Then I read Midnight Mass. I already spoke about it. I gave this one 5 stars for the Tyler Bell and Poppy's kind of sequel. Yeah, it is pretty short. It's a marriage in trouble, to stay in marriage, and trigger warnings for infertility. I think that's the only trigger warning. Yeah, enjoyed it, 5 stars. Then I read A Mafia Mistress by Willa Finelli. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Willa Finelli. I finally read it. It is the King of Italy series. It's the first book. This one is about Fausto and Francesca. It is an age gap. It is, I wouldn't say fiance's dad, because it's not like they really are engaged or are in love, but Francesca is set to marry Fausto's son because her dad is kind of gives her off as paying because he owes Fausto. So he's like, I'll just give you my daughter. Well, Fausto kind of suggests that to pay off your debt, you need to give me your daughter. She can marry my son and she'll be the princess of Italy or the queen of Italy. And he kind of falls in love with her. He kind of becomes obsessed with her in like a lusty way. He's just so attracted to her. He finds her to be so beautiful. He just wants her, and he lets her know, and he lets everyone know the game has changed. He is now with Francesca, and pay attention to the Mafia mistress. And it is just very annoying. He can get very annoying at times because he's very stubborn, and she's also stubborn. So there's just a lot of headbutting that they go through. And then I read Mafia Darling because Mafia Mistress kind of ends off in a cliffhanger. Loved Mafia Darling, but when I say darling, it's darling. Is it darling? Depending on your accent. Whatever. Today I'm saying darling. I usually say darling. I don't know. I think I'm tired, so I'm just gonna say darling. yeah, that's where I'm at. But it is the second book of them. Really want to read Enzo's book. I am very excited to read Enzo. He is very intriguing for me. He just has all the stuff that I love in a Mafia hero. Very excited for that book. That's like the only thing I got. Not the only thing, but that's one of the things that just made me want to continue on with the series. That is Enzo. But I did like this book. I think I gave it 4 stars. I gave the first book 4 stars. It's a 4-star read. It's not too hard to get into. It's just a good book. Very good. Then the last book that I'm going to talk about is Haunting Adeline. It is a dark romance. This book is by H.D. Carlton. The audiobook is out, by the way. Check it out. So if you weren't wanting to read a 600-page book, the audiobook is out. Get it on Audible. You can get it there. I loved this book. Let me tell you, why was I laughing at such a dark romance? I don't understand. But it's because of this author's writing. It is because just Addie finds herself, she is just that friend where you're like, I don't know how you keep ending up in these situations, but you do. And you just can't help but laugh. And she is just like, she's a flight risk. That's what she is. She's a flight risk. And probably the hero is driving that plane. Yep, he probably is, because he is obsessed with her. Not just like a cute obsessed, but like obsessed as in, I know where you are, who you're with, what you're doing, where you're going, what you're wearing, what you're eating. I know everything about you. And it's scary, but I'm like, yes. Why do I like that? Yes, that is fantastic. He is fantastic. I am for their relationship. I stand them, even though it is incredibly dark. I would never want to live through this, but I mean, big ups to Addie. She is formidable. That's the best thing I can say about her. She is funny and she's a writer. I just enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this book, and I can't wait to read the second one. Even though it's gonna be long, but it is so worth it. So if you're thinking about reading this book, here is your sign to read it. Read it, you won't regret it. If you like dark romance, do not let this be your first dark romance book. You will not enjoy it. Just don't do this to yourself, okay? Try something else. Try anything else. Just don't read this one, okay? So yeah, that is all I have for today. I had another book that I read, but I'm not going to talk about it. Hopefully I will read it this month in September, and I'll talk about it. But thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what book you did read in August. What was your favorite read in August? And thank you all so much. Take care. Bye.